So, over the past few weeks or so, there have been some pretty interesting conversations and speculation about the future for Star Wars Battlefront 2, and a lot of people are starting to feel that the end is near for this game. And while there's no, concrete evidence of that, there have been a lot of weird situations that have occurred that I do understand why people are thinking this. And so in this video, I am basically going to be just going over all of these things that have occurred and then just overall giving my thoughts on it, on what I think of the situation. This isn't supposed to be like a fearmonger video because, like I said, there's no real concrete evidence of support ending soon for Battlefront 2. But first off, I want to get into probably the most major news that did happen recently, and that is the fact that Ben Walk is no longer working on this game. He actually got promoted to producer at DICE. That's all we really know. Ben Walk obviously was the community manager for this game and was a huge part of getting this game to grow in its fan base and the success it had, because he just did a really good job at what his job was. And I and many others just think that he was a very important asset when it comes to the content that we did receive for this game, because the community manager we had before wasn't the best. I'm sure you guys know, with the whole pride and accomplishment thing. It's a meme now because we've grown past it, but he just didn't really do a good job at what he was supposed to do. And then Ben Walk came along and everything kind of changed in terms of community management. And so, obviously, about a month or so ago, I can't really remember, it was a while ago, but not too long, he did announce that he is being moved up to a producer. And his last day was, I believe, April 1st, so it wasn't an April Fool's joke like a lot of people were speculating that he was just going to come out and say, no, I'm just kidding. His last day was on April 1st, unfortunately, and he still is kind of in talks with the community. He's still somewhat the community manager, because the weirdest part about this is they have not gotten a replacement, or officially gotten a replacement yet. We do still have Total FPS, or Kevin, who was kind of the sidekick to Ben, if you could say. I mean, he kind of was underneath him, but still was also a huge part of community. I mean, he did do the community calendars for every month, and then a bunch of other things as well. So he is still here, which is good, and he is doing most of the talks with the community. But the weirdest part about this is lately, just communication has not really existed lately, and that's nothing to say against Kevin or even Ben. We really have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, and Battlefront Updates did make a good point in his video yesterday. He talked about the fiscal year. I'm not really sure when it ends, but basically when the fiscal year is ending, they are no longer allowed to talk about what's going to come after that legally or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why, so that could also be another reason why we haven't really gotten told anything about May or June or just the future in general for this game, is because that fiscal year is coming to an end and they cannot talk about the next one. But I do just kind of find it weird that Ben would be leaving, or not really even leaving, he is just being promoted to producer for a game that we have no idea what it could be. And if this support is still going to go on, it's kind of like, why is he leaving in whatever the time would be in the middle of the game's lifespan, While it may not make a whole lot of sense to us, there is obviously a lot of stuff going on in the background that we just cannot see because, they can't say basically everything that's happening. I personally would like to assume that he is a producer for the Star Wars role of games. I like to think that he is working on a new Star Wars game. Now, whatever that will be, I have no idea. There's a lot of rumors about a Fallen Order 2, and then also this, I think it's a Respawn game that's supposed to be about X-Wing. It's going to be like a lot like X-Wing Squadron. Maybe it's a virtual reality game or something like that. I'm not too sure. But that's all for another video. Anyways, but communication just has not been the best lately. And again, there's so many different factors why. Obviously, with the virus and the pandemic that's been going around, because of this, DICE is now all working from home. So there has been a lot of issues with that, I can assume, because the March update was actually delayed till mid-April. Now, we don't know what day specifically in this April. I would assume probably either next Wednesday or Thursday that the community transmission or even the update itself should be released. Unless, of course, there is another delay, which would be unfortunate. But back on to topic of people sort of leaving Battlefront 2, we know of 3 so far. So Ben Walk, and then another major one was actually Harvey Newman, who is the lead animator for this game. So he was obviously a huge part of the updates for this game. And Harvey Newman, like I said, lead animator, he is moving on to a separate company, which can actually be a good sign, because a lot of times when support is ending for a game, the studio will simply move developers that are working on the game currently onto a new game. but it looks like he is leaving on his own terms because he probably got a better position, a better pay raise. You know, you never really know, but it is a new kind of smaller company, so he probably wants to be a higher up in there and build it up from the ground up, which is pretty cool, and I am happy for him. But then there was another Battlefront 2 developer. I think this person worked on both Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't even really remember the person's name. I know Battlefront Updates did a video on it yesterday, or at least it was talked about in that video. I think the person's name was Eli or something. Again, I'm not really 100% sure, but you've probably seen his video and you'll know what I'm talking about. So the fact that 3 people have come out and said that they are leaving, or already have left actually, does have me worried that, okay, this is kind of happening all at once. What's going on here? And then you probably have a lot more developers that have left that just either don't have social media or just don't talk about it at all, because of course it is their own business. You know, they don't have to come out and announce that they're leaving the studio or moving on to a new project. But it does really have me worried because, like I said, we just have no confirmation on anything at the moment. But the next huge thing that I want to talk about actually comes from the Celebration Edition. Obviously, we got this epic trailer for The Rise of Skywalker, and then it just showed all the content that came with this game, and was just basically a huge thank you for all the fans for sticking around with this game and continuing to support it. And it was just really great overall. But the weirdest part about that is, obviously, if you bought the Celebration Edition, you unlock every single skin except for the event skins, which is like a Leia skin and then a Luke Skywalker skin. Other than that, you get every single skin unlocked basically for $20 or $25, something like that. And then if you bought the game new, you can buy it for $40. And while that part of it has no evidence to support ending soon for this game, the problem with this is that no one can no longer buy any crystals in the game. So the crystals were the main source of income that EA or DICE made from the live support team, because you could use it to buy skins. It was cosmetic only, there was no pay to win involved. And so the fact that they basically made it to where no one can buy anything else with real money for this game does make me worried that they are going to end support soon, because why would they keep supporting a game that is not making them any money? You know, EA is a business. They are there to make money, whether you like it or not. They want to make money off of this game, just like any other business and any other game studio. I mean, it's just how it works. So the fact that they did cut off support for that way of buying skins makes me think that there is something else to this. Because yes, Celebration players already have every single skin except for the ones that are coming after you bought that. But at the same time, players who do not have the Celebration Edition still cannot buy crystals. So even though I do have this edition, say I didn't, and I wanted to buy the Legendary Grievous skin, because it's probably one of my favorites in this game, well, I would have to save up 80,000 credits rather than spending, I think it'd be $20 to buy this 80,000 Legendary skin. So no one can no longer do that if I'm correct, and so that just makes me like, okay, that's a huge part of this evidence why they are probably cutting off support sometime in the near future. But I don't know, because we just really have no idea. This is all speculation based on evidence that has been happening over the past few weeks or so. So there is some logistics to it, but at the same time, there's no confirmation. So when you hear a lot of people say that, oh, it's ending soon confirmed or whatever, note that that may not be true. You know, obviously I hope that support keeps going on till the end of this year. That's the most I can see this game being supported, because that'll be over 3 years. You know, the game released November 17th of 2017, so that already makes it over 2 years old of support. Yes, the support really didn't kick off until probably the summer of 2018, but even the fact that they are still adding content to this day from all 3 eras makes me believe that they are trying to get this game basically completely wrapped up. Because what's weird is a lot of people say that the sequel trilogy seasons were kind of rushed, and I do agree with them. I feel like, yes, the Rise of Skywalker update was amazing and one of the best updates that the game had, but at the same time, we still don't have Crate or Starkiller Base for instant action or even Capital Supremacy, or it's just Supremacy now. And then they are getting out the original trilogy for Supremacy and Instant Action, but the weirdest part about this is there's no capital ship phase, so it's only the phase 1 of it, and it's probably just going to work a little bit different, except for you're still capturing command posts. And their reasoning for that was, well, it doesn't make sense to start off on the Death Star and then go into phase 2 onto a capital ship. Like, yes, I get, obviously, canonically, that doesn't make sense either, or logically, that just doesn't make sense, but at the end of the day, it is a game, and a lot of people have speculated saying, you know, what if the actual reason for this is the fact that, say, support does end after May, like if May is the last update, they wouldn't have time to actually flesh out Capital Supremacy and completely make the interiors for the Star Destroyer and whatever the equivalent to that would be on the Rebel side of things. You know, it does kind of make sense if you are a game developer, if you are DICE working on Battlefront 2, and you still have not gotten the original trilogy out for probably the most popular game mode now. I know a lot of people like Galactic Assault, but let's be real, Capital Supremacy is the most popular mode at the moment. They are going to want to get this trilogy out, probably the most popular trilogy in Star Wars. No, it definitely is. They're going to want to get it out for this mode that is supposed to be the new main game mode, but if they don't have enough time to do it, then they're just going to get out what they have as soon as they can, which obviously that does make sense, you know? So there's just a lot of things to it, and at the end of the day, we will never know until DICE officially comes out and says, thank you for playing. Last update will be, you know, May 28th or whatever the heck it means. So I do think there are some evidence to this, but at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe we should wait for a confirmation on this. I know it's good to speculate and not get our hopes up, because I have seen some people say they expect this game support to end at the end of this year. And personally, realistically, I cannot see that happening, especially because while EA Play was supposed to happen, there's probably going to be another Star Wars game announced, and they're going to want to focus all their resources on that one. Like I said, Fallen Order 2 has been rumored, and then some X-Wing game. I have a video currently in the works discussing a future potential Battlefront 3, so stay tuned for that. So overall, I just think that we all need to obviously speculate, but we also need to be realistic in terms of what a business would do from a business standpoint. But I hope you guys did enjoy this speculation video. Be sure and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think support is ending soon, or do you think us Battlefront players are just overlooking things like we tend to do a lot? Just let me know in the comments. But if you did enjoy, be sure and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel a lot. And if you're new, subscribe for more Star Wars news, gameplay, and more. And I'll hopefully see you in the next one.